Please stand by. This is All the Radio, and I'll bring you the comments from the press.
This is All India Radio. You will now hear comments from the press. The Indian Express, in its editorial titled Pulwama Pullback, writes, with Wing Commander Abhinandan's return home, hopefully, the de-escalation of tensions between India and Pakistan will gather pace. The next few days and weeks will be a test for the governments of both countries of how they keep steady as they ease back from the brink. The Narendra Modi government will need a lot of room for maneuver as it steers towards business as usual with a difference. It has made its point that there will be no more impunity for terror. At this delicate juncture, however, there may be at least two reasons to worry that space could be constricted and constrained. There are two cautionary notes to be struck. One, with Pulwama and Balakot taking place almost within touching distance of a critical parliamentary elections, politicians of the ruling party and in the opposition, and especially the former, must resist the temptation to use it to draw harder lines within. And two, crucial discursive space must not be abdicated by the political leadership for studio warriors on television and in social media spaces to rush into. On Wednesday, a meeting of 21 opposition parties flagged the first concern. They were anguished, they said, at the blatant politicization of the sacrifices of the armed forces by the ruling party. The Economic Times, in its editorial titled Under Threat, India's Miracle Growth Rate, writes, miracle economies are defined as those with GDP growth of 7% for a decade or more. India qualifies, but the latest data are sobering. Q1 growth in 2018-19 was as high as 8%, but this was largely because of a low base effect that eroded as the year progressed. Growth in Q2 has been revised to 7%, and the Q3 estimate is just 6.6%. Annual growth is estimated at 7%, implying that Q4 growth will be only 6.3%. Do not read too much into data for one quarter. India could bounce back, yet the world economy is slowing and India with it. Core sector growth in January slowed to 1.8%, the slowest for 19 months. If the coming election produces a populist government, the economy could slow further. Germany just avoided a recession in the second half of 2018. China is slowing, probably by more than official data suggest. The US boost in 2018 from President Donald Trump's tax cuts will wear out in 2019. Indeed, the Fed has reversed its earlier projection of interest rate hikes, fearing a coming slowdown. Rising protectionism, disruptions caused by US sanctions on several countries, Russia, Iran and Venezuela, the US-China trade war and Brexit are all negative factors. The post-World War II consensus on liberal economic reforms and globalization is in retreat. This means India will have to run much faster just to stay at 7%. The small incremental reforms of PM Narendra Modi's first term will not suffice. India must do far more. The Financial Express, in its editorial titled Assault on Aravalis, says, given how caustic the Supreme Court was in its order to the Haryana government to not implement the amendments the latter recently made to the Punjab Land Preservation Act or PLPA, it is clear that the amendments were a mistake to begin with. They would have opened up thousands of acres of the Aravalis to activities like mining and construction with serious implications for the environment in the region. They would have also retrospectively legitimized illegal construction in the area. The Supreme Court in September last year had ordered the demolition of construction after 1992 in areas recognized as forest under the PLPA in Haryana, including the infamous Kant Enclave project and over 100 farmhouses and banquet halls built on forest land. Not only are the Aravalis important for biodiversity, they are also important for pollution control in the National Capital Region. In 1996, the Supreme Court ordered all state governments to identify forests in their jurisdiction, though under the PLPA, 25,000 hectares in Haryana are identified as forests. The Haryana government's response to the SC order managed to keep over 12,000 hectares out of notification as forests, given the SC in its September 2018 order had maintained that the land notified by Haryana under PLPA must be treated as forest and forest land. The amendments would have stripped away the last vestige of protection for the vulnerable Aravalis in Haryana. In the September order, the Supreme Court delivered a stinging censure of the Haryana government, saying the rule of law